Hi, and welcome to the Fancy Comma YouTube. I thought I would update you on my small biz finance thing that I was doing. I think I published 2 or 3 videos by now about small business finance. And basically, the last time I think I recorded one, I said that I still had some business debt that I was paying off. And yeah, so I ended up paying that off. I got a side hustle working for the government. Not going to go into detail on that. It was pretty boring. Thanks to my part-time job with the government, I was able to pay off my car. So that was good, since that was a $300 a month thing that I didn't really have money for as a writer in the era of ChatGPT and marketer. Which, in case you didn't know, marketing has been in a recession since before ChatGPT, since the middle of COVID. Then I was lucky enough, after my government job ended, I worked for this company, basically teaching STEM, and that required me to revisit circuit boards and electronics and electrical engineering, cybersecurity, all of those things that I know about as a science grad and STEM girly, but have never formally taught a class on. So yeah, I taught a class on electronics this summer. Actually, I taught, I think, 3 or 4 classes on electronics, and I feel pretty proud of myself. That job paid pretty well for like summer jobs. Paid like $19 an hour. It was like pretty good for a random summer gig. So that got me through most of the year. And then last year, around August or so, because I work in education is highly seasonal. So in the summertime, there's no work. So I had a shortfall. So I took out another loan. So now I'm paying off that loan. And then I had the misfortune of hitting a pothole, which dented my wheel. And so I thought that the state could pay for it, but I filed my claim. I followed up with them, and they said that ultimately they have no control over how the weather will be and if it will create potholes. So that left me in the red, $1,600, which I put on a credit card. And it took me a whole like 8 months to pay off, but I paid it off. So as of now, I don't have any business debt. I'm credit card debt free, which is great because interest rates being what they are kind of ridiculous. But I do have like 40-some thousand more personal debt that I am paying off. But actually this year, going into the summer, things are actually a lot better. Even though gas prices are expensive, my health care went up like 87%, and my local newspaper interviewed me because I have Affordable Care Act health insurance. I talked to this reporter about how expensive my healthcare is, and it's now May. I've been paying my healthcare the extra amount of the premium since January. Many people have had their healthcare canceled because they can't afford all the increases, but I've been paying it just because this year I went and got all my free preventative screenings. It was great. And I go to my checkup with my doctor, which is free every year. Therapy, got to have insurance for a good therapist. Those things matter. Even though Congress, and I can say this because I worked in Congress, and I don't think that anything they've done this year has really been functional, has really been so dysfunctional. And I saw this chart that said that they passed the lowest number of bills of any Congress in the recent history. For some reason, they're out of control. They made my healthcare go up. When that story was published in the Oklahoman, a number of people commented on the Facebook thing announcing it, and they're like, oh, one person said, I don't want to pay for her health care. And I was like, thank you. That it feels like we don't have money is like the catchphrase of our current time. We don't have money for Medicare. We don't have money for Medicaid. We don't have money for like health insurance exchanges. We do have money for all of the other things that's happening in the world right now, but apparently we don't have money for the things that I actually not only care about, but also use. So I'm a resourceful person. Technically, it has been shown by my ability to pay this premium of like $812 a month. I don't actually need the ACA tax credit, but many people do. That's not even mentioning, I wrote this whole list of things that are expensive right now. Gas prices, so I'm driving less, and every time I drive outside, I'm like, these people are paying so much for gas right now. This is more than driving. This is like a cultural event that we are experiencing right now. And then there's also grocery prices. So this is about personal finance. So this is what I'm doing in our current times when everything is so incredibly expensive as a freelance science writer. And also as an investigative journalist, because that's my new thing, is investigating stuff, grocery prices are absolutely bonkers. I think I was trying to buy some yogurt. It used to be like $4. The same yogurt is now like $7 or $8. So you know what I did? I just stopped buying yogurt. So I only buy what I need. I don't even buy what I want. Although last week I got someone else's bananas and corn tortillas, and luckily I love bananas and corn tortillas. So I just got some free bananas and corn tortillas because I read that according to the Federal Trade Commission, if the company sends you the wrong item or gives you the wrong item, you're not obligated to like take it back to them. So of course they didn't give me my actual other groceries that I wanted, but I got a free thing of bananas. I don't really like bananas, but I did eat them for like several days. Another byproduct of the increased grocery prices is that I don't eat junk food anymore. I can't afford soda because there's an aluminum shortage. And apparently the 12 pack of soda is now like $13, which that's a lot for soda. Like I remember when soda was 25 cents from the vending machine. That is not a thing anymore. No takeout and no fast food. I can't afford fast food anymore. Just the mental anguish of going through the drive-through, knowing that the people working there are getting paid so little and I'm paying so much. And I also have some, I would say, relatively not super well paying jobs as a writer in our current times. Because as I said in my other video, whatever job you have, if you're making money from your job, that is really actually probably even an accomplishment right now because so many people are being laid off. So my other expenses, I have no other expenses. My new hobby is becoming an investigative journalist, and I'm also upskilling. So I'm a science journalist, but I didn't do investigative journalism. And this past few months, I learned that actually I really love investigative journalism because it allows me to research things with the skills that I have from science. So that's my new thing. And I'm doing a whole other video on that, so stay tuned for that. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm revisiting broke grad student life. Does anyone remember? So broke grad student life is like when you go to seminar, they have extra Domino's pizza. Take a thing of pizza home. I used to take a thing of pizza, aluminum foil it into individual servings so that I could put them in my freezer and then reheat them in the oven. Or go to Trader Joe's, spend like $40 on produce would like last you a week. I don't even know if I could live in Washington, D.C. in our current times because my stipend when I was a grad student was only like $26,000 a year. And my parents had to help me with my rent because it was so expensive to live in Washington, D.C. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. And honestly, it involves a lot of boring trade-offs. Like there's so many times where I'm like, I literally had this day where I was like, I want to go and do something fun. So I made a list of things I wanted to do. And I was like, I want to go and do something fun. And then I wrote a list of the things that I had to do. And it was like 10 things. And none of them were fun, but they were all things I needed to do. And so after that, I just decided in this economy, I decided paying your bills is a fun activity. And if I can make paying bills my hobby, I will. Now I work less a little bit because I've paid off some of my debts. Technically, I said I was tutoring 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day. I used to like worry, be like, oh my gosh, do I have enough money? Do I have enough money? I don't know if I have enough money. I need to have more money. I need to do more work. And then I would just get into this whole cycle of just like thinking about how much money I didn't have. But then I realized if I have enough money to cover my basic necessities, then I can just do fun stuff. Instead of like trying to see if I could get an extra $20, I can actually just go do something fun. Doing things you enjoy in this life is priceless, but having an extra $20, its price is $20. So when you think about it that way, maybe it doesn't really matter that everything's so expensive. I mean, for people that can afford everything, and like that could be a whole other video about all of the different sacrifices that I've made because of the economy. The thing is, since I've been a grad student, I have already lived the broke life and I can do it again. And I've been doing it for several years as a writer in the era of ChatGPT. I'm really happy in this. And I learned another thing too, and that is that working on your finances is not one of those things that happens overnight. It's like a years long endeavor. So when I first published those first videos, we were first trying to get out of all of this like chaos of COVID and me getting burned out and what are we going to do with our finances. That was a really hard place to be in. But like where I am now is not, but also just having a positive attitude and a good attitude of like, yeah, things are going to work out. Things are going to get even better because when you work on something, you don't give up, you allow yourself to take breaks, you learn from your mistakes. That is a really good path to be on. Actually, in our current time, even just having a job that you really love is something that is incredibly scarce with all of the different layoffs and all of the different things happening. And I think a lot of people, myself included, thought that would be done after COVID, but apparently not. So if you have any questions about what I'm doing for my small business finances, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer any and all questions. I can even do another video. Budgeting is a lifesaver. Figuring out exactly where your money's going and exactly how much money you have coming in. That's pretty much the only way to get a handle on finances. And one thing I struggled with for a long time is I calculated that how much money I had, how much money I needed, but the money I needed was more than the money I had. But like, that's where you got to get creative and either get another job, decrease your expenses, play the numbers game of finances. And luckily, that's something I really love to do because I love learning about finance. So that's kind of like a fun hobby for me sometimes. But I also do get very caught up in the numbers because you always want the numbers to be better. But sometimes the numbers are just the numbers. One month the numbers are bad, then you wait a few months after paying $5 here to one debt, $5 there every little while. And then next thing you know, you're getting out of debt. I can say that getting out of debt after being in debt and not expecting to be in so much debt is really freeing. I don't think I could ever go back to being that in debt ever again because that was really stressful. But maybe you never know. Like if there's some cool thing and I have to go into a lot of debt to do it, like maybe get an MBA. I think that would be pretty sweet. So my fellow freelance science writers, comms people in the era of ChatGPT, how are you all getting by? I have only seen layoff news from all of the major publications, so maybe that's the moment we're in, is just money is scarce because of the chaos of so many different things that I just don't even have the emotional bandwidth to get into right now. But you can always, even if you don't have money for something that you want to buy, you can always just have a positive attitude because it doesn't cost any money to have a positive attitude, be kind to people, be the change you wish to see in the world. None of those things really cost any money. So I challenge you to be creative and think of things that you can do to make the world better that don't involve stressing out about how much money you don't have, while still also acting to figure out what you can do with your finances and make some good choices that will set you up for success. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe and see you in the next one.